new clinical data from Hoya Vision Care is generating major excitement in the myopia management world after researchers reported that MiYOSMART IQ spectacle lenses showed little to no average myopia progression in children as young as 4 years old. Presented at both the Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology Congress and ARVO 2026, the studies suggest the company's next generation DIMS based lens design may significantly improve myopia control outcomes compared to previous spectacle lens technologies, with researchers calling the results some of the strongest ever reported for pediatric myopia management. The findings are also fueling new conversations about how early clinicians should intervene in childhood myopia progression and whether aggressive early treatment could reshape long term standards of care. Cary, what can you tell us about?
Yeah, this was Hoya's data, and it was 6 months of data, and it's truly very impressive. I mean, uh, you know, I know sometimes you don't like to listen to this message because I'm an Ortho-K guy, but you got to be, I mean, eyes wide open on this stuff. This is an effective product that really controls myopia, and it does, to my thinking, that 90% of the patients responded well to the treatment, which means that there's just 10% that you need to, they're not going to respond to that. You may have to switch them into something else. So, to me, this begs the question of why aren't we doing this? I mean, we always had excuses about, I don't want to fit my patient with, I've heard this today that doctors don't like to fit kids with contact lenses. I mean, I heard this 40 years ago. And, maybe I don't want to do Ortho-K, maybe I don't want to do atropine, but here you've got glasses. I mean, you went to school. I mean, we all learned how to do this. So, what would be the reason why you wouldn't prescribe this to a patient, right off the bat? I mean, to take care of that thing. And, the good news here is that I think this is raising awareness. This is lowering that amount of doctors that really can get out from under this thing now, because, you see this very impressive data coming through, and this is what we want to do. We want to control this myopia as much as we can. Now, yes, there are some caveats here. The glasses had to be adjusted properly. I mean, this is a control study. I've done this work. I've worked in FDA studies and all the like. And you can't expect the same situation in a practice situation you can under these control circumstances. You have to make that point. So you don't know if that's going to be able to be reproducible in a doctor's practice, by fitting this lenses. Certainly, if you measure correctly and you do your patients for follow-up, we'll have a lot more information on that as it comes through. But the IQ, the change in here, the increases in the power, in the asphericity in these segments that cause this is something we've known for a long time in Ortho-K. I mean, this has been the basis of the new modern Ortho-K designs that have come out we call them custom designs, but really they're designs that have been shaped, and Josh can speak to this a little bit, but designs that are shaped to increase the power and the asphericity on to create more defocus. And we've had great success with this thing, 80, 90% control of myopia with that. So it's nice to see that the glasses now are responding, to that what we were able to do before. But this is something that you guys are familiar with. Eddie Chow brought this stuff to the first time with his 5-year retrospective studies and all the things he did with lens design. He's one of the pioneers in this. So anyway, we know that increasing the power and asphericity of that segment, and then causing more of the blur, the myopia blur in the retina, and the contrast will cause, a greater effect as far as controlling myopia. And so they've done this, and they've effectively changed it. It's been brilliant. I really applaud their work. And the other thing I want to talk about is that, they had up to 4-year-olds. And I know Andrew's online too, and he sees these questions. Well, people don't know if they should, my child's only 5 and it's only approved for 6, is it safe for my child to wear these lenses, or my child's in my teens and it's only approved up to age 12. Is it safe? This is something, hopefully as this data gets out, I mean, because it's the FDA's guideline only, we always have that. Doctors ultimately the source of the decision here, what they're going to prescribe for their patients. God, I hope so. It maintains itself, so the doctor can do off-label if they want to call it that. But it's hopefully that dialogue, that exchange of, is this okay? Is this legal? Is this okay for my 5-year-old will go away now that people understand that we are seeing these results.
I actually want to hit on that because I think that is so important, and so many people have a fundamentally wrong idea about that. Um, Studies do not tell us what we can do and can't do. They do not tell us what we should or shouldn't do. Studies tell us how to understand what happens. And when you understand the mechanism, when you understand what's happening, you can extrapolate that to people not in the study. There are very specific reasons that they include or don't include certain groups in the studies. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, that's heartbreaking that you hear about it, and those are just the ones that
Yeah,
post something online.
I
There
know.
are kids out there that could be in this thing, and the doctor, the optician, whoever it is, says, "Well, sorry, I mean, you're 4. We can't give this to you for another few years." Well, actually, now with this study, you can, but we don't have MiYOSMART in the United States. But
Yeah, no, we don't.
yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking that something that kind of fundamental and important is misunderstood quite a bit. So, um, yeah, well, I see this, of course, as primarily a young kid technology. I don't see any progressive adults choosing to wear this. I mean, we know this. The way these work is we get clear center, blurry periphery, and we're willing to accept that to a certain degree, and it depends on your situation. But um, you know, eh, when we try to make these things more effective, we make that clear center smaller. We make the blurry periphery blurrier, and to some degree, I do have hesitations about that. It's always a balance. It's always, pros versus cons and weighing it out for the individual. For some, that is 100% worth it. For some, maybe we should think about other things. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's
Actually,
thrilling.
though, Andrew, actually, they've changed the optic. I haven't had experience with this lens because
Yeah,
obviously
right,
we can't prescribe it yet. But they've changed the diameter of the center.
right.
They've
Yeah, it's
actually
small.
extended it
Oh,
so wider for that reason.
I think they,
I think it's
I think
smaller.
they made it smaller.
Yeah.
Yes, they made it smaller.
I think so.
Yeah,
I thought I
smaller
read that they. Okay,
they moved the defocus centers segments closer to the
well, that
center
would
as
make
well.
sense. That would create better myopia control. Yeah,
Yeah, more peripheral defocus.
I had
But
read that maybe it was a Stealth 2.0 that they actually made a wider center.
We'll fact check the episode afterwards.
Yeah, we need fact checking here.
um,
Good points,
I
So
think
though.
it's
here,
Good
great.
here
points.
we can conclude that they either made it bigger or smaller. I can say with 100% certainty.
No, I mean, I think this is great. Obviously I'm more an Ortho-K guy also. That's really our bread and butter. I'm the most knowledgeable in that compared to the other modalities, but it's not always a good fit for everybody, right? One of the things is it's a cost barrier. It's going to be more expensive than the spectacles are, and I think that what's important is that more people are getting into myopia management. And so if this is a product that'll help you take that leap, because it may not require as much specialized machinery, it doesn't require maybe as much training as Ortho-K would, and this is kind of your step in to get into the myopia management. I think it's a great thing, and then eventually your practice evolves and you start offering more and more products, because not everybody can fit into one thing. Somebody might be great in spectacles, other person that might not work. Ortho-K might not work for them, so you put them in soft multifocals. And so I think as the tool belt expands and as products get better, this tends to happen. And so with every article that we've been discussing right now, all it's doing is really bringing more light to the issue. And just from an industry perspective, you can see what that's done. 20, 15 years ago, how many modalities did you have to offer and how many brands were there? Today,
Yes.
how many ortho how many modalities are there now? And more they're getting FDA approved. So I think it's a great thing for the grand scheme of things. It's a really, really good thing for the industry, patients, and parents worldwide. So I'm really
Let's not
happy.
forget too that Ortho-K, as wonderful as it is the learning curve, and that's what Josh is about here. The learning curve is not as easy
Yeah.
as we'd like to have it be, and it's a hard thing for a lot of our colleagues to get into. So you need, I mean, what could be simpler than glasses, right? But we might find that,
Well,
we
I
might have
worry
an
the learning
answer to
curve
that
with
thing.
fitting these glasses might be an issue too, but we shall see.
Yeah, we're gonna find out some things about that.
Yeah, how you doing, kid?
Yeah.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
maybe that big lens doesn't work, in that frame. Yeah.
It reminds me of when we had David Ng on the podcast, and as Americans, because he's a Canadian ECP, and as Americans, we're talking about how great it is to have all these options, and he's just like, "Oh, that's so cute," because in Canada we have way
I've
more
had 'em.
options than you do,
Yeah.
and you guys are acting like it's an embarrassment of riches, but it's very limited compared to what they have over in Canada.
Yes, it is.
I think the biggest issue is the follow-up care aspect of it. Cary and I have talked about this offline.
Yeah.
If you can't even convince an optometrist to charge appropriately for their time in doing follow-up care, I wonder if that is going to diminish their interest in even doing follow-up care, right? Because they don't think that they should be able to charge for it, and so they're not gonna do it because it doesn't fall into the plague of this, like, insurance, see every patient in 15 to 20 minutes model. It just does not become economical for that practice to do that. How am I supposed to charge them for follow-up? And it's like, well, for a myopia management specialist, you got to charge for your time. That's important. Like, you have to check back in. Cary, I'm going to echo something that you said recently where you're like, if a doctor prescribed medication for you for hypertension but didn't do a follow-up, you would fire that doctor.
You
So
should.
I'm wondering
Just fire him.
I'm wondering if right,
It's
great,
malpractice.
Is it so?
But that's our problem, isn't it? That's really our problem.
Yeah.
Because we don't look at it that way. We're doctors, but we don't act like doctors. Okay, we have all these other professions to take, look at and take guidance from: dentistry, medicine, whatever it is. They're not doing that. They do it, but we, for some reason, question the fact that we should act as doctors. It's not natural for us, I guess. I don't know. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.